Colin, good afternoon to you as well.
It's frickin' raining, Gary. I like your hat. What's
Thank
it
you.
say on it? Oh, it says Autobahn. Is that famous space shop, Gary?
Yes.
Kind of cool. Now, you've got some admin to do, haven't
I
you?
know. But while you're sorting that out, just to everybody out there, Ola, thank you very much for watching. Welcome to the show. An exciting day's racing over in Dakar, and we're going to go into a bit of that and a couple of other things. But in the meantime,
South America.
I just said, no, I
You said Dakar,
yeah.
but it's in South America.
Okay. 3,
But it's the Dakar.
2, 0, 1, 9. How's it,
Episode
guys?
51. Welcome. And if you're in Joburg, I hope you managed to stay dry. That was a Mursa thunderstorm, at least in 4 ways. But the fart clubs here are doing well, and the Oaks are just muring each other stuck on. So yesterday, the Dakar races from Pisco to San Juan de Marco. And it was quite an interesting day because we said that strategy was going to be everything and play this chess game, but nobody knew that NASA's brain goes tilt every now and then, and he just wants to go, he knows only one speed, and that's flat out. So NASA gets in and he draws everybody by 2 minutes in an hour's racing, which is quite a big difference. Some of the things that came up, I'll tell you what, Gary.
Yes.
Apparently,
Yeah.
our creative people, or are they gremlins, or they're like the people behind the scenes? We have a team. Of our team of about 63 that are involved in the production of this, most of them are sitting off-site, as they say, from our semi-outdoor studio. Where are we again, Gary?
We're at the Mug and Bean, Broad Acres, Johannesburg North.
4 ways, but
Yeah, 4 ways, but
there's only 2 gyms here. That's disappointing because most
two
shopping
gyms
centres
and 10,000 fort clubs, as you'd say.
fart.
Yeah,
That's when the Oaks mud each other. They fart.
yeah.
Okay, Gary. So seriously, we've got a team. Did your creative team prepare the results from yesterday?
Yeah, between us we put something together, so
And have you worked on a way of signaling to these guys like electronically, or do we just say, "Hey, guys in the box back over there, slick that pill and show that video,"
I think you just told him what to do.
and then we wait and see what happens?
Yeah, so, you know,
And if
it'll, there it goes.
Of course it does. So it was absolutely fantastic. It was a great stage. Of course, NASA wins it by, a minute.
Minute?
No, it was 2 minutes. It was
Well,
whatever.
1:59.
No, it's 2 minutes because the 41 you've got there is minutes and 59 is what. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
He won Prozgonski in the Mini, and a four-wheel drive Mini. Vasiliev and Al-Raji also in a Toyota.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, the main man, Carlos, they had a dice, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The
And then-
Mini wasn't
Yeah.
that reliable yesterday. They've got some issues with the cars. They're fragile, and of course Honda bought Beretta. I kind of dig that oak from the past. Look, I know 2/5 of 5/8 of nothing about Dakar, and I mean on motorbikes. I just know the Oaks are absolutely mull. Okay, so we don't need to play it again and again on endless loop, but maybe
But the public might want to see it, you know, just
the public.
yeah, I
You
mean our fans.
Well, because there's so many of them.
Yes.
I see the last count we up to like 1,345,000.
Just while you are there, Evan Schreiber, hi, how are you? Terry Brand, hi there, Terry. Nice to have you on board. Brad Drew, he's online as well, and then MacMan, great having you join us.
Who's MacMan, Gary?
MacMan is MacMan.
That's us. We
Sullivan.
MacMan.
Yeah.
Because we've got two Macs. I've got the skinny version. You've got the fat ass version. Eh?
Yeah, something like that.
So in this stage, Al Attiyah decries all team orders and just pins it flat out and catches up to Carlos in the Mini.
You know something?
We've got a movie of that as
We've
well.
actually got a video of it. It's actually quite interesting.
Okay, so you make the Oaks do it.
Gentlemen, shows that video, what I call the run to the flag. Thank you.
They are going flat out and they're chopping and changing.
It also gives you some idea of what the sand is like that we were talking about yesterday.
Yep, and you can see how the fine dust. That
but
wasn't a sand cloud.
No.
That was diesel because
Watch this run from
I think it's absolutely
NASA.
awesome. I don't know whether Saints backed off, but I don't think one would back off, but it seemed that he stopped accelerating. Hell of a interesting, with the crowd and the spectators and all of that has a go. So that was that, and then we kind of come to today. And we didn't know what the hell was going to happen today, and it was Pisco to San. No, that's tomorrow, Gary. Where the hell are my notes? I tell you what, we got to talk to this production department because it was Pisco to San Juan.
Thank goodness I wasn't in control of production scripts.
No, but
today.
that was today. Oh,
But
anyway, so
anyway.
they go to San Juan, and they have. It was absolutely fascinating watching. I was out and about and working, and I wasn't tethered to the phone, but there's a great results pattern. But I'll tell you what, before we go into what happened today, shall we, just to wrap up?
Yes.
They left the bivouac very early this morning. While it was still dark, they were up having breakfast. Into there's really good catering, and we'll, as the race goes on, we'll talk about some of the catering and stuff like that. And then they had a really short drive and then started pinning it. I actually quite like this. Remember, we're 7 hours ahead of them.
Yeah.
So it's quite lacquer that we've got the results, had some chance to get some photographs and talk to the information providers. And thank you to both of you who, well, there's 23 of them that are pumping us information. Thank you to all of them. Gary, are the mosquitoes also eating you?
Yeah, and just a quick one. There's some guy over here saying, a guy called Richard, I believe you might know him. He says, Daddy-o, keep it up, love the fresh haircut. Now, I don't know if he's talking about your haircut or my haircut.
Well, Gary, we can't see your hair because it's hidden behind your auto.
There's my haircut, girls and boys. There we go. How we go.
So our catering department is leaving. Good night, guys. Thank you very much for your help, your support, and please don't get too wet in the rain. So that's
we just say goodbye to catering department, sir.
Who on their way.
And then Rob Cantrell says, interesting, as the FIA says, you can't push black smoke from a diesel.
Well, so Minnie would turn around and say that wasn't quite black, it was dark grey.
So there's a definition between black and dark grey.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bob, we love your technical insights, and if at any time you feel like giving us some more of these technical insights,
you know what?
You may know him as Robert.
Yeah.
We know him as Bob, and it took me a long time. I knew Robert Cantwell, but I didn't put a face to the name.
Robert and Bob.
And who makes fantastic engines. But I knew the guy from the track, Bob, who always helped us with the cars and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then we get to talk to each other, and anyway, so Bob's Robert and Bob, sweet brew. And the other young man, my son Richard, great that to bump the viewership model, we get our tribes to watch. And Richard is part of our tribe that gets going.
Okay.
So Gary, where were we? We were talking about Robert Howie, and yesterday we had a first part of his interview, which was absolutely, I thought, full of insights. So today we got part 2 of the interview, and if you seem to have better remote control over the gremlins back in the production house than I do. So do you want to tell them to go, or do I go 3, 2, 1, go? I'm sorry, I lost control of my hands.
The gremlins are going to do it for us right now. Watch.
So we just shut up. Right,
Yeah, no.
fine, do it.
Okay, fine.
Do it. Ruth?
It's obviously very thick to handle the loads in the corners. The compound is unbelievable, and but yes, we've done some more testing this year, and They've brought a different tyre. We've got another rim. So we had a few issues this year with the tyre coming off the rim. You know, in Peru the sand is so soft, so you need to run the tyre pressure lower. But we've handled that problem.
And how low do you go, so to speak, on tyre pressure,
Okay.
as opposed to, well,
I think you want to go lower than 1.4 bar, you know. And also the thing is, we're not traversing the Namib dunes on a fishing trip. You know, we're trying to finish the stage as quick as possible. So you need enough air in there to actually punch a dune, you know, and hit it with a bit of speed.
what do you mean punch a dune? What does that mean?
Hit it as hard as you can. You know, you need to fly out of the bowl, get the car airborne. If you're
Over the top.
yeah, if your tires are in the sand, you're not going anywhere. You know, momentum.
Does that feel cool when you fly over the top and you're going into nowhere?
I'm busy looking in the book for the next instruction. I don't worry about that.
Oh, geez, he is so cool. Another part of the Gary, now that you've just destroyed
I think
this
the
car.
Hennings diffs just come out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just broken the whole car. Stuart, come and join us. Thank you very much for spending so much time at our makeup department and getting sorted out, and particularly with our catering department and sorting them out, because every now and then they need a good lecture on how to get things done.
Well, Colin, as you know, an army marches on its stomach, so what can you say?
That's what was that, Rod?
So no, nothing.
No. Right, so so here we are. You're not going to Dakar,
Unfortunately not.
but you've got your RS shirt on. You're going to follow this race closely.
Yeah, indeed, Colin. The shirt's on by pure coincidence. It's a huge disappointment, to be quite frank, that we're not going to be at Dakar this year. We have 3 Renault Dusters parked in Buenos Aires.
So they're just parked, they're chilling and doing what dusters do and not getting dusty.
Indeed. And,
And the reason for that?
I guess, in short, the reason is that the race isn't going through Argentina. We were funded by Renault Argentina. The running budget, whilst the budget to build the cars came from Renault Sport in France, the running budget came from Renault Argentina. And without the race going through Argentina, they see no return on the investment. So, as such, the cars are parked, and I won't have any new shirts to see you in next year.
By the time people see this, it'll be this year, so think of the future. Okay. But you'll be joining us in our mobile studio and helping us to unravel some of the intricacies of Dakar and the desert. What are the things that you're looking forward to that we should keep our eyes on?
Well, Colin, I guess as a proud South African and as a friend of Rob and Glenn's, I'm certainly holding thumbs that Toyota can do it.
But this is the year they've got to do it, eh?
Well, if not this, then next, I suppose. But for sure, I think it's a golden opportunity for the South African Toyota team to win Dakar, which is.
But it's not going to be a walk in the park, because Sebi Loeb has got a privateer. That is no privateer frickin' vehicle. That, in my understanding, and my sources say, that is as factory as it comes. It just is like, well, oh my God, look at me, I'm Sebi in a privateer. Would that sum it up well?
I think fairly well. Perhaps I could have put it a little bit more politically correctly, but nonetheless.
We don't do politically correct here.
Yeah, and I think you have to add the minis to that. I mean, there's no way that Dupre, Peter Hansel, and Carlos Sainz are going to drive a car that they think can't win. So
and it's a buggy that they're all in, and they come out of a Peugeot. Sorry, it's not a truck. They've come out of a Peugeot 2-wheel drive, a cross-country racing machine. For sure, they've transferred some of the knowledge they've got.
Well, the word on the street, which is always dangerous, is that Carlos, after his first run in the Mini, said he came back to the bivouac and said there's something wrong with the engine. And there wasn't. So you can be sure that that same perception doesn't exist anymore.
Well, whether Qantas got the desire to throw as many euros as Peugeot did at winning. I mean, they essentially had an open-ended budget and go and win
Colin,
Dakar.
I think the The question of his desire goes without saying. He wants to win. I think he is perhaps the master of playing the long game. You know, I certainly, from a personal point of view, hope like mad that he hasn't lulled the FIA into a false sense of security with the two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive debate. But
and also the restricted debate.
Indeed, but for sure, I think it goes without saying that those mini buggies are going to be competitive.
I think it's going to be an absolutely fascinating race. I'm not sure what day we're gonna do this. Robert, come and join us again. I'm not sure what day people are going to see this on, but it's going to be hell of a interesting to see. And Roger, come and join us as well. Let's have a wide-angle lens because we haven't got the smallest of boys here. Gary? So we're going to run with quick predictions for Dakar. Roger, have you got a prediction of what is the battle, the thing of interest you're looking for?
Where?
On Dakar.
What's Dakar?
Say that again?
What's Dakar?
Okay, Roger.
Racing. Okay, I don't do this
You do endurance racing, South African Endurance Series.
on tar.
On tar track, probably the finest racing series in the world.
Dakar's endurance.
So by now, but it's not on tar. So by now we've come to the Raw for Daytona. What are we looking for on the SA Endurance Series? What are you excited about?
New cars, a couple of new Gianettas around, new people around, talking to manufacturers. I think it's going to be a good year.
And Gary, just zoom in and see the glint in this oak's eye. Talk us about those new manufacturers.
I'm not saying nothing.
That's a reflection from the stained glass window.
I'm saying nothing.
So he's not saying nothing, but I'll tell you what, we've seen some pictures. There's carbon fiber,
But
which
you
is...
asked me about the Dakar.
Yes.
I think it's Toyota's turn.
Or does Dakar gods give out turns?
Well, there's a fellow from up the Middle East who's quite good at driving in sand dunes.
I think he's very quick.
He's F quick. Yes.
Love it. Roger, welcome to Waved Yellow. That expression, F quick. Right, I'm going to put you on the spot. We know who you work for, but so who's going to win it? Bernard?
Can't remember the names now, you see.
Okay, NASA?
I can, but Colin can't.
It's between Bernard, NASA, and Janil will finish in the top 10. We know this. He's done, 17 of the things. He's finished inside the top 10 on 16 times. He's won one.
Well,
if you're going to bet on him finishing, it's a sure bet.
I guess it's fair to say that I hope Janelle does well. He chose me to sit next to him this year. The fact that I'm out with injury means that I can't be there. So I hope he has a good race.
So going back to that, his navigator.
That's the last question, yeah?
No, I know that, but hey, my mind is going. Rob, you not living in officially you're living in the bivouac, but you've got alternative accommodation. Upgraded accommodation.
Well, I suppose being friendly with Dirk, I have the option of sharing his camper. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the bed next to him, it's the bed on the other side of the camper, which, although it's only 3 meters away, is still far enough away from him. But that's good enough for me.
And the coffee machine will be stocked?
Yeah, coffee machine's good.
So going back before I rudely interrupted you, what's going to happen?
Well, as Roger says, I really hope it is Toyota's year, being in one country with purely sand. Sure, it's a lottery, look at what Sebastian Loeb did. Look, I broke my back on day 2, Loeb got stuck, Daniel hurt himself and he couldn't continue. It's such a lottery, the sand. So if ever the Dakar was difficult to choose, it's now. But I hope the four-wheel drive, not trucks, Toyota Gazoo cars do well. Obviously, being
Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa, Toyota Hiluxes do well.
There you go. So you messed the truck part up, but you got the name right, which I guess I should have got that right. But yeah.
No, you got to. You're dodging. Give us a name and give us a prediction.
No, I can't. As in my position in the team, I'm happy that any 3 of them do well. Bernard's is very fast. He's.
How about they all finish in the top 3?
That would be first prize, wouldn't it?
That would be. I'll tell you what, the party afterwards.
I think Dr. Van Sale would have a wonderful. Never mind the rest of Toyota, but if Toyota can finish the top 3, we colour the eye on that that Daruma doll with pleasure. You know, it's a Japanese doll that we're given every year. And
Have you had that ceremony where it's been handed over yet?
Yeah. That's so. The one I was coloured in. Now we're going to colour the other one in. But yes, if we can get all on the top three, or all three on the top podium, would be great.
Well, good luck with that. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. Stewie,
Colin?
what's your prediction? Or the battle you're looking for?
I think that
I see you pedaling.
no, you know, as Rob and Roger have intimated, it's a very, very tough race to call. I think it's, you know, perhaps for all we all tend to think that because it's only in one country, it's going to be an easy Dakar. I don't think so. I think it's going to be one of the toughest ever. I think the route is going to be very demanding. You know, whilst
And navigation.
Indeed, and whilst it might give the service crews a bit of a break, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for the competitors. So, you know, I guess my heart is with the Toyotas. You know, I guess historically the strongest speed-wise are NASA and Mathieu, but let's see. I mean, Janil is fantastic. He's always there or thereabouts.
He will podium.
He will, indeed. We'll, you know, so I don't know. I certainly hope it'll be one of the Toyotas at the top step of the podium.
I got that. Our production department is telling us to either commit suicide or wrap it up. Robert?
I just want to say one last thing. I was fortunate to do 6 stages in Peru this year before we went into Bolivia, and I know they're racing in the same area. And what I can tell you is navigation will be the most difficult thing. It was incredibly difficult, and they don't have as much land to use. You know, there's only so many dunes. So what happens is stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the Arequipa rest day, you have to go back to Lima through the same area. So there's going to be tracks and broken sand, and it'll be incredibly difficult.
And ASO will probably try to make navigation even more difficult than it normally is.
They don't have to. It's, I promise you, the waypoint can be 2 k's away, and you can be stuck in a bowl for an hour and a half. That's just the way it is. The sand is so soft. The holes are as big as a car. You'll dig for an hour and a half, maybe. So that's just the way it is. So, yeah, it'll be tricky.
So you've got to dig deep, dig for a day and a half, and there's lots of digging. We're going to, we'll talk again. Don't know when this is going to go out. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Cheers.
Countdown.
Gary.
4, 2, 1, 7. Really?
Well, you know what? They production people. They housed in a tiny little hot room. Thanks, guys, for playing that. So, how ironic is it that Robert talks about the navigation in the Peruvian desert, and what happens today? NASA bolts, and he starts going, and opens the road. There are no tracks, no nothing. Very, very early on in the road, gets lost. Sorry. Has a navigational error. We've got to get the correct terminology, because terminology is everything, Gary. Thanks to our live audience has just joined us. Thanks for the latest 3 members.
The Ku Klux.
The pre-Kentucky. For those of you who are familiar with Mug and Bean in Broadacres, they've got chickens, and the chickens are chickening out of the rain as we are. Very quickly, let's go to the end of the stage today. Loeb wins it. He's got the Peugeot hooked up, and he was pinning it today. Roma second, and he was and Nanny's in the buggy 8 seconds behind. Bernard ten Brink was third, ahead of Janelle de Villiers, 1 minute 30 and 1 minute 20 seconds behind the leaders. Where you ask was King Carlos. He was 4:40 behind on the stage, and we've seemed to not have mentioned Nasser Al Attiyah, who was 7 minutes 37 seconds behind. What happened? They had a navigational error. They lost a lot of time, around about 10 or 12 minutes, and Nasser then drove like very fast
A bat at a how.
to get to the end. Slight little thing, he came in 11th overall on the stage. And for tomorrow, what that means
Yeah.
is that the top 10 get a 3-minute gap between the drivers, and then from 11 to 20 get a 2-minute gap.
Oh, really?
20 to 30 get a 1-minute gap, and then from 50 they go in batches. So NASA is...
When you say batches, they're like 5 or 6 guys off the line together, or just one behind the other? That's
Sorry, Gary, you were breaking up there, and I thought you asked me a question that I haven't got the answer to, and I'll do some research and I'll come back to you tomorrow on it. But clearly he was breaking up. I thought he said that it's how important is the 2-minute gap to 11th place. It's important in that you get distracted. You've got a minute. If you're assuming that he's going quicker than, and I've just got to have another look with my arse because the print is so small. Vasiliev is in a Toyota is ahead of him as well, and that's also in the latest gen Toyota. And then Fuchs from Poland in the Proto is ahead of them. So no doubt, if he's catching Vasiliev will pull over, let him go, and follow him. Because within the Overdrive team and the Toyota Gazoo, the greater Toyota family,
right.
they've got enough cars in the top. The guy at the back of the tribe of Toyotas that's running,
Okay.
his job is to work with assistants in case there might be a problem, they might have been stuck in a soft spot or something like that, and they can stop and assist very quickly. If there's a major problem, all the top teams have got their racing trucks with virtually a spare car in the back of it, and the racing trucks will come, but they will be a little bit later, and you'll lose a bucket load of time. So I don't believe that there's risk of ripping corners off in the sand, although they do pull up to 3 Gs momentarily as they dive and change direction in the sand, because the sand acts, you've got 2 parts of grip on it. The tire actually gripping into the sand and is the one part of the grip, and the other part of the grip is the tire acting like, if you think of a rudder going through water, Gary, you've got a tire going through sand, so it uses the outside of the sand it's deep in the sand, sort of this deep in the sand, and the car's powering through. Oh, I love the sound of those V8s under maximum torque. So that was the results of the stage. And guys, we're not a results service. There are many. If you want to, you can go to iLab and look for results there, and you can go and download them and analyze them and do all sorts of crazy stuff like that. But it's important to talk about it. So they go to sleep tonight with Toyota 1-2, Janil ahead of Bernard ten Brink after 4.5 hours of racing. So Janil leads by 28 seconds. Never in the history of Dakar has Janil de Villiers led on day 2 of racing.
Really?
Never.
Yo.
So, people talk about Janil's... Sorry, Gary, you were saying?
All that slim and trim-looking boy is obviously paid off. The boy's on a mission.
He's mean. He's hungry. He's
that's cool.
out to do a thing. So that's going to be quite exciting. He's got Bernie ten Brink. Nani Roma in the Mini is 42 seconds behind Janil. Al Raji in another Mini, and then Sebi Loeb, who's now only 156 behind, and then King Carlos at 228. Harry Hunt
Is that the son of James Hunt or relative of James Hunt?
There is a relation.
Okay.
I'll do some research and I'll come back to you on that.
Just thought I'd ask.
So Gary, I don't know. There are most things I know, but I don't know about Harry.
Do you know there's a Hunt that's also riding in the motorcycles?
Is that with an H?
Yeah.
Luckily, it's an H. Gary, it's a family show.
You're not catching me that easy today. I'm awake. I'm
look
awake.
At me.
Yeah.
Check my eyes.
Check.
Focus, Bree. Focus.
I'll focus.
Gary's focused. We're both going to start doing our lean, and if Janil can lean down, we can lean down.
This is a challenge.
I think we should do that, Gary.
NASA, serious.
NASA's in 8th position, 326 off the lead, and Cyril Despres is in 9th, 328, 343 is Vasiliev, and then we don't have Przgonski. There's something about Mr. Przgonski from Poland. He's in 12th position in a Mini. And then Stefan Peter-Hansel, who lost initially 18 minutes. But he ended up, the total gap to Janil is 13 minutes 55 on day 2. But it's Dakar, it's early, there's a bucket. I'm going to close this, Gary, because
No, that's
I
fine.
can, and
Yeah,
that's
you
enough
can,
advertising for Apple. I need a new cap. We're not commentators, are we?
No,
What are we?
we are strategists and information content generators. Okay. What are we?
I was going to say an analyst. an analyst. But we check stuff out and we talk about it. Because I'm worried, and so is a group of our viewers who are worried that we may put the commentators curse on things. I hope we don't, because I don't see us as commentators. I see us as talkers of stuff.
Information generators. Well, while you're looking at you, just hi
we
to
analyse
yeah,
it.
just hi to Stewie White. Nice to see you, boy. We need to get to chat and find out what's happening with you later on this year. Brad Drew, welcome. Terry Brand. Matt Nash. Any of you know Matt Nash?
Matthew, is he working on sports cars ready for the South African Mopar South African
Yeah.
Endurance Championship?
And-
2019,
yeah,
first
and-
race end of this
yeah.
month.
And we got Sparky bright and line. Sparky, we're nowhere near where we were last year, so we can't go into those funny little furry friends of yours. From
Oh, we've
down
got
there.
feathered friends, yeah, they walk like Egyptians.
Yeah. And Peter Bell. Any of you know Peter Bell? He runs a thing called Dakar 2019. Fantastic group. Try and join it if you can. And then Henny van der Linden's online. Henny,
Hello, Wameni.
welcome, Sequoia. Have a lovely evening this evening. I hope it's not too chilled, because I know you're just down the road from where we are. But that's what I have to say now.
So, should we go to tomorrow?
Yeah.
So, what's happening in Dakar tomorrow? The cool thing about this race, before we came on air, audience wants to ask a question?
Give them the microphone, see what they've got to say.
Member of audience is just chirping and
Yeah.
asking a question there.
Part of our live
Ruud,
audience
do
feed.
you want to talk to us in real life? I just go shy. They chirp in the background, and then when you offer to put the microphone, no, they
Okay.
chicken and they run away.
Hey, chicken.
So the cool thing is, today, before we went on air at about 5:30, the cars were in the bivouac and were being stripped and sorted. So this goes back to Rob Howie's role.
Yeah.
What is his role? Get the drivers out the car, debrief them, and particularly the co-drivers, because they would have they've got a list of stuff that needs to be done, and start prioritizing that and add that to, because each car has got a set workload that needs to be done every evening. Wheel
Correct.
bearings, prop shaft, well, the prop shaft is pretty small, brakes, oil, all the fluid levels, complete spanner check. So you do all of that work, as well as solve any problems and fix any issues that may or may not be on the car. From what I understand, none of the cars have got any issues. They're all going very fast, and from what I believe,
Yeah.
the Toyotas showed incredible speed over the last probably 15 minutes of racing in terms of catching up time. So who knows what tomorrow brings. They will then, when they got there, they would have had a snack, service the cars, and so now 5 o'clock our time is 10 o'clock in the morning their time. So they got over and done with the racing relatively simple, and you've got the rest of the day to do stuff, and it's not as physically demanding, even though it's not as physically demanding in that you're not draining your sleep reserves
Yeah.
so early on in the race.
All right, just before we go any further, just to let you all know, the bikes are still on track. Okay, the leaders have gone through waypoint 7, and at the moment we still have, sorry, just going to move this over. Ricky Barek of the USA on the Honda, he's up in the lead at the moment, followed by Joan Barrera.
Barrera.
Yeah, Joan Barrera. And they sort of leading the pack at the moment. The first South African in there is Kenneth Gilbert. He's sitting down in 47th at the moment. He's only just gone through waypoint 3. But the guys are in there. They're all giving it a good shot. And then Stuart Gregory has just gone through waypoint 2. He's now sitting in provisional P99. But it's still a long way for the bikes to go. If you stay in line with us, I'll be posting the bike results as the evening goes on, so you'll be able to stay up to date with those bikes. And a couple of guys chirping at us. Fritz Klein, you know Fritz Kleinons is online?
Has he found his shoes?
Fritz, have you found your shoe? You still got the gumboots inside the car. For those of you who don't know, Fritz Kleinons is one of the guys that runs one of those magic little Alicia.
Gary?
I forgot. I nearly forgot what it was.
It is a Ligier.
A magic little Alicia.
JS53 Evo 2.
Yeah, and
With carbon fiber, because carbon fiber is cool. Remember your maths and science kids. We're going to come to a question about that later.
yeah, and to Graham, Rodney, Niven, thanks for joining us, guys. All of that. And Colin, you know, we've gone through a lot of things, and Dakar's still a long way. We're only on day 3. We still got to get to day 17. Well,
Day
not
2 of racing.
Day 2 of racing.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got to get to day 10. So there's a lot of information to come through, and we are getting close to the time of the maximum length of our show, Uncle.
Yeah, I know that. I just quickly wanted to talk about tomorrow.
Yes.
Day 3. They leave the bivouac, and I'm now going to talk about South African Standard Time at 14:24. They start the stage at 14:45, so
Yeah.
there's 20 minutes. So basically, it's a very short out of the bivouac and drive into the start of the stage.
How long is that stage?
406,
The special stage.
331
Oh, okay.
days of
All right.
special
Okay.
stage. They then come out of the stage, and the organizers tell us, according to their plan, it's about a 3.75 hour stage
Yeah.
that they've worked on. So the cars will come out of the stage at 18:29 tomorrow, 6:30 our time tomorrow, and then they drive 450 kilometers into Arequipa. So they're going from San Juan de Macona to Arequipa. The thing is that the organizers say that the first cars will arrive at the bivouac at 24:44, so 1:45 tomorrow morning. I
Yo.
expect it's going to be closer to 10 o'clock.
Is that
Because-
24 their time or our time?
Our time, Gary.
Oh, okay.
So I expect it to be, you're doing 450 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
The cars can do, they're not supposed to go faster than 100, but there's a margin of error, so they can do about 109.9 k's an hour.
Okay.
And they will have tested the tracker at the moment, so they know exactly when the tracker starts to beep. And that will be the speed that they dial into the speed control on the cars, press go, and they'll bolt. So that's tomorrow. What of the stage? It's another massive mountain stage. I mean, mountainous dune stage. Sorry, chaps. My notes from our recce department tell us that the dunes are fierce. I love that. They are very high and very fast. And the most critical part of the mix tomorrow is not so much speed, but navigational accuracy. Make sure your nav is good and you'll be all right. So today, NASA loses effectively 5, 6, 7 minutes. You don't want to chuck that away.
No.
This race is going to be tight.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so we'll add some sports cars into it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Gary, what have you got to say?
I'm just going to say thanks to everybody for watching. As I said, this is day 3.
Two of racing.
No, yeah, but day 3 of our show of Daily Dakar. Okay, so we've got another 7 to go. Guys, stay tuned. Lots of exciting things happening. The race is still young. Anything can happen. So for those of you who've been watching, thank you very much. Awesome having you on board.
Cheers.